Molly, wanted to maybe jump right in here and ask you, what's the first thing cat parents need to understand about trying to punish their cat?
Well, the biggest thing is if you're trying to punish your cat, trying to, "No, don't do that," and you're yelling at it or you're squirting them with the squirt gun or the squirt bottle or clapping and those kinds of things, it's just not effective. And it's
Mm.
really not effective for 2 reasons. First of all, whatever that cat is doing is probably natural behavior anyway. So when you start yelling or squirting it or being crazy, it just can't figure out why you've become unpredictable and are freaking out, which messes with their confidence. Cats really like environments that are highly predictable. So, if when you get all crazy, they're like, "Oh my god, I don't understand." And it just erodes the bond between the two of you. The other thing is cats are so smart. They quickly figure out, well, depending on what it is. If I'm clawing the back of the sofa and she starts squirting me with the squirt gun, well, I know when she leaves and goes to work, then I can just claw on the back of the sofa. And
Sure.
your little cat cams will prove that it's just not effective. And I think that's the first thing cat parents need to know. Just don't do it.
Mm.
Don't do it.
Yeah. What are some of the common punishment tactics that people try? I know you mentioned the squirt gun. So yeah, what are some of maybe the other ones that are the most common out there?
Well, for years they were told to like shake pennies in a can, create a real loud noise and yell, clap your hands, take a rolled up newspaper if you can find one anymore, and whack it against your hand to make a loud noise, make a loud sudden noise that will startle the cat and hopefully redirect it. And again, it doesn't work. And it doesn't work mostly because again, whatever the cat is doing, it's natural cat behavior. Now, it might also be attention seeking behavior, which is important to distinguish. Why is the cat doing something you don't want it to do? Are your expectations reasonable and realistic? And then how do we get the cat to stop doing that and to do something else? And that's really the key here. Is I always say you can't tell a cat no, you have to show it what you want it to do instead, right? So
Mm.
if you're going to use a deterrent, deterrents are great, and we can talk about some of those. Deterrents are awesome. However, they have to be used hand in hand with something that's more attractive to the cat than whatever behavior it's doing.
Yeah, and I think you mentioned a lot of the methods that I tried, especially with my previous cats, because, when I got Mia and Nomar in 2003, I was a new cat parent, never had done this before. So, probably what I did, what a lot of people do, you go to the web and you look up, like, how do I get my cat off the counter? And the results are the things that you mentioned, like I put coins in a can and I shook it, or I put water in a spray bottle, squirted them, or I read, sometimes people suggest you put aluminum foil down, I guess, on the countertops, but they're doing a natural behavior, right?
Right,
Jumping,
right.
jumping is a natural
Get
cat
to a high
behavior.
spot. Yeah.
Yeah, and they're gonna continue to do that. The other thing I think that, and you can maybe confirm this, that might be negative to try those things, especially things like shaking coins in a can. It can scare them, and might give them
Absolutely.
some anxiety. And I've noticed with some of my other guests that I've interviewed that if you bring that energy into your home, that can affect their behavior in a negative way, get them stressed, and really don't want a
No.
stressed out cat,
It
right?
absolutely can. I mean, like I said, it erodes your relationship. They're not
Mhm.
dumb. They know
Yeah.
who's doing it. They're like, "Why are you yelling at me? And why are you squirting me with water? I don't like that. And why are you making that loud, obnoxious noise?" They just think you've gone off your rocker. They don't relate it to what they're doing like dogs do. I say
Mm.
often dogs have a social hierarchy. So dogs are used to positioning and they're used to, I don't want to say punishment, but they're used to deterrence in their social relationships. Cats really don't have any of that. So they don't understand it. It's just it's not effective. And a lot of people, you absolutely never ever ever want to poop them on the nose
Right.
or rub their nose in it if they're not using the litter box. People go, because that's what they tell you to do with puppies is rub their nose in it and then go put them outside. And I've had people tell me they rub their cat's nose in it and then go put them in the litter box. Well,
Mhm.
that doesn't make any sense to the cat. That is not good. So don't do any of that at all. We Those are bad things.
Right. And we mentioned counters, like jumping up on the kitchen counter, and that's with my 2 current felines, Nico and Milo, they're 1, and so they're exploring, they're having fun, but when I'm making my dinner, they're up there trying to, sniff, "What's Scott making?" So, what do we do with the cats that are constantly jumping onto the counters? What are some alternatives to help them not do that?
Okay. So there's several things. First of all, the first thing I told you is you can't tell a cat no. You have to show it what you want it to do instead. The second takeaway I want you to remember is behaviors that you pay attention to will increase and behaviors that you ignore will fade. Right. So the
Mhm.
first thing you have to do, because a lot of times cats will do things just to get your attention. So you don't want to look at them. You don't want to talk to them. You don't want to pick them up and remove them, right? Typically from whatever situation that they're doing, you just want to ignore them. So if you're preparing food, however, if you can easily move that food to another counter and turn your back, right? And do that, that's best. If not, first of all, choose your battles, right? And because it's like I have people that say, I absolutely don't want my cat on my counters because they walk in their litter box and I don't think it's sanitary. Okay, if that's your thing, just know that cats need to be up high.
Mm.
Cats also want to be where you are. And so if you're up on the counters, the cat wants to be up there with you. So there are several things you can do. Not while you're making food. You want to do this when you're not making food. There are remote control noises that you can make that there's a little device and I can send you the link if you want to
Okay.
link it to this podcast. But it's like an alarm, and it has a remote control. So you could put food out on the countertop and put the noise piece over on the counter and walk away and kind of watch. And then if the cat jumps up there, hit the noise maker, and it goes. "Woo, woo, 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 woo." It's
Mm.
very loud, and the cat's going to go "Ah," and run and jump down. They don't associate it with you because you just have the remote control and the noise didn't come from you. And so I did that with Pico because and not on all my counters, just one. Just on the counter that's the food prep area. I said, we gotta, this is off limits. Everything else, go ahead, walk on. I don't really care. And so he knows because we went through a sequence of that. However, he has still been able to attach it to me. He's figured out it doesn't happen when she's not home. And so when I look at my camera and when I'm out of town, he'll be sitting up on that counter and he never does it when I'm here. He only does it when I'm gone. So some of the other things we can do in the deterrent arena for countertops, those clear carpet protective
Mhm.
pads, and
Yeah.
they have sharp points on them that hold them in place on carpets, carpet runner protectors. You can buy them at hardware stores. Get those. You can cut them to size, put them points up on the countertop. That's uncomfortable on your cat's feet. So when they jump up there, they're like, "Ooh, I don't like the feel of that." There's also sonic mats that you can put on counters, and it's battery operated. And when the cat jumps up there, it goes, those things are much better to use because they're not relying on you to create the deterrent. The
Mhm.
deterrent is there whether you're there or not. And the cat begins to learn, oh, it's uncomfortable up there. Now, again, I said earlier, you shouldn't use a deterrent without showing the cat what you want it to do instead, right? So we're telling the cat, I don't want you to do this. with deterrents that aren't associated to you. And now we have to get to the what do I want you to do instead? So you could get a cat tree that is about counter height tall and put it at the end of your counters and teach your cats go to place,
Mhm.
right? And that becomes the place they go to, and they're there and they can watch. And as long as they stay there, give them treats, maybe give them a little bit of the food. But as soon as they venture onto the counter, it's ignoring taking the food away. You don't get what you want. You only get what you want when you stay in the cat tree that's next to the counter.